So my lighting's a little bit different because I finally found my studio light bulb. It was tucked in the garage. Who knew? And now I have my studio light back up. I do have a ring light coming in tomorrow. So that probably mixed in with my studio light. I hope that I'll have some decent lighting finally. So today I'm bringing you guys two videos today. I'm bringing my January wrap-up, which is this video, and then my February TBR, which is the next video. I'm putting those up because the next couple days I'm going to be busy, so I won't be able to record. So I just want to get this up as soon as possible. If it's not up by today, it'll be up by tomorrow. And I know it's not the end of January, but you know, I'm going to be busy with family stuff, cleaning the house, yada yada yada. So anyways, that's where I'm at right now. In January, I read 4 books and I listened to a short story. I'm going to save the short story for last because I read that with 2 books written by the same author. Let's get right into it. The first book that I read was actually the only disappointment that I read. And that was Young Elites by Marie Lu. This is the first book of a trilogy, a fantasy trilogy, a book called The Young Elites, who are survivors of a deadly plague. And it left them with scars and abilities. And overall, this story was just not for me. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5, closer to 3 maybe. And I have a review of this. I actually have a review for all the books that I read, except for the short story. They're going to be all down below. Overall, I just did not like this book. I will continue with the trilogy. I'm not necessarily dreading reading the trilogy or excited to read the trilogy. I'm kind of in the middle. I heard that this is a lot of people's favorite books, and that's cool, you know. It just wasn't for me. And you know, some of your favorite authors aren't always, you know, a hit with you. I still love Marie Lu's writing. I think the writing was great. I think the lore with the Young Elites was interesting. Overall, not for me. Hidden Oracle by Riordan. This is the first book. Ow, I bit my tongue. The first book of the Trials of Apollo series, which we follow Apollo, who was cast out as a mortal by Zeus with the name of Lester Populopoulos. And he has to basically go through these trials to reclaim his godhood with the help of his friend Meg McCaffrey and a bunch of other people. And this was a 5 out of 5 stars. I love this book so much. I'm glad to be back in the world of Percy Jackson. I love this book. I think Apollo as the narrator was amazing. I think he was really overdramatic. But that's the charm of him. He's so overdramatic, and that's who Apollo is, really. And there'll be like paragraphs upon paragraphs of him being like, if I was God, I would do this. And reference to like Britney Spears concerts or, you know, Justin Timberlake or whatever. It was hysterical. I really enjoyed this book. I cannot wait to read The Dark Prophecy and see where this series goes. So this was a 5 out of 5. The last 3 stories I read were by Cassandra Clare. So the first one is a short story which was called Through Blood, Through Fire, which I believe she wrote with Wasserman. And I listened to this, and the narrator was Candace King, who I believe played Caroline Forbes on The Vampire Diaries. This one followed Jem and Tessa, and anything with Jem and Tessa, I'm just gonna love. And I did. I love this story. I think it was a really great story. I loved the characters. I loved the story. I loved the writing. I just wish it was a little bit longer because I just wanted to stay into the world. And I just love Jem and Tessa so much. When I read The Infernal Devices, I wasn't really necessarily Team Jem or Team Will or Team Tessa. I just want Team No Suffering. I just hate suffering. But that's what Cassandra Clare is known for. This is a 4 out of 5 stars. The reason why it's a 4 and not a 5 is because I just wanted it a little bit longer. I know this is a short story, but you know, that's just my pettiness. I love the story, though. Then the last 2 books were actually the first 2 books of The Dark Artifices, so starting with Lady Midnight. This follows Emma Carstairs, who we were introduced to in City of Heavenly Fire. This takes place 5 years after City of Heavenly Fire, and this is kind of dealing with the aftermath of what happened. The big war that happened in City of Heavenly Fire, that's what this is following, the aftermath of that. We follow Emma Carstairs when she's 18. I think she's 18. I can't remember how old she is in this book. But we follow Emma Carstairs and her parabatai Julian Blackthorn. And this takes place in Los Angeles. And so we are also following the Blackthorn family of Ty, Libby, Tabby, Drew, Arthur, Mark. And we also have characters like Diana and Christina and Diego. There's a string of murders going on between human and fae. And there's like a whole conspiracy. And overall, I gave this book a 4.25. It was a really good book. I love the writing. I love Emma. I I love Julian. I love the Blackthorn siblings. I love the Los Angeles Institute. I love Christina. I love Christina so much. I think she was a great character. And I also really like the fact that we get a recap of the Mortal Instruments. For those who haven't read the Mortal Instruments, you can... I wouldn't necessarily say you should read this before Mortal Instruments, because this is going to spoil you for the Mortal Instruments. But if you want to read this before the Mortal Instruments, go ahead. This was a really, really, really good book. The reason why it's not a 5 is because, 1, it's extremely long. 2, there was a scene in here that disturbed me, and I wish it would have been taken out. But I understand how that particular scene progresses a certain storyline, but I just didn't like it. And 3, I didn't get Emma and Julian being a couple together. I really didn't. It wasn't for me. I didn't like them together. I can't pinpoint why I don't like them together. I just feel like they're just together just to be together. Just for the story. That's just my opinion. But I love Emma and Julian separately. I think they're great characters, but together as a couple, wasn't feeling it in this book. Until we get to Lord of Shadows, which is the second book. And I loved this book. This is a 5 out of 5. This is probably Cassandra Clare's best work since Clockwork Princess. I love this book so much. It was just so good. Oh, I just loved it. We get character developments for like Kit and Diana, and more, you know, just more goodness that was in Lady Midnight. We expand on that, and it was just so good. And by the end of the book, I was a hot blubbering mess. You know that scene in Man of Steel when after Superman kills Zod, he screams and crying? That's how I was when I read the ending of this book. I was a hot blubbering mess. It was so depressing, but oh so Cassandra Clare. I cannot wait to read the rest of this trilogy. This book was so good. Although, that being said, this is my least favorite cover of the trilogy. I just don't like it. And that's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and comment down below your thoughts of these books if you have read them. Which book of the Dark Artifices is your favorite? So far, Lord of Shadows wins that spot. I'm loving this trilogy right now. For more content, hit that subscribe button and I will see everyone soon in my next video. Deuces.